I'm Taimour Zaman. In this video, I'm going to share with you what is the standby letter of credit and how to monetize it. I am Taimour Zaman from LifeCredit.ai. For the past few years, we've been working with lots of import-export individuals, lots of asset managers, a lot of high net worth individuals who have standby letters of credit and they're looking for monetizing. I want to simplify and give you a story around it so people better understand what these vehicles, instruments are and how to best take advantage of it. The standby letter of credit, or the other word for it is called SBLC, was originally invented as two parties who need each other, but trust is not present. In March of 2020, oil prices around the world had gone into negative territory, and there was a very short period of time where oil producers would pay you and I money just to store oil. Like they just need people who would store that oil for them. And this is a true story. A high net worth individual that we know through a lawyer went to South Africa to buy a tanker to take advantage of this market conditions. And let's assume for the purpose of this conversation that tanker was 25 million bucks. The manufacturer of the tanker is not going to sell you and I a 25 million tank, something that holds the oil, and ship it all the way to your location to find out you don't even have the money. You, on the other hand, in this case, are the high net worth individual that we know, would not acquire, would not pay for a product that they haven't received specifically from a guy or person who's in a very different legal jurisdiction, and especially if it's like 25 million bucks. You're not going to prepay for it and hope that it will show up in your door one day, kind of thing. So standby letter of credit, or SBLC, is an instrument that solves that issue. The buyer, in this case is high net worth individual, goes to their bank. They may have $1 billion or some number like that in their bank account, and they ask their bank. It's usually the commercial banking division, not the retail banking or something like that. They ask their commercial bank to issue a standby letter of credit. The issuance of standby letter of credit, generally speaking, in the developed countries takes 24 to 40 hours to get issued. The bank that issues us charges a fee for doing that. The buyer then provides the SBLC, standby letter of credit, to the seller. And this way the seller can be assured that when they send, in this case, or in this example, the tanker, when it gets to the buyer, if the buyer doesn't give them the money, they can provide that standby letter of credit to the buyer's bank, and upon showing that to the bank, they will get their 25 million bucks. So they have the assurance that they can build a product, ship the product like that. So in this case, now you are the seller. You've got a standby letter of credit. You've got 6 months, a year, 2 years, 5 years, whatever it is, to fulfill on that contract. This happens a lot in commodity-based businesses like rice, sugar, and so on as well, where the seller has the standby letter of credit, and now they have to put the product together, ship it, send it, While you have, if you're the seller, while you have that standby letter of credit for, let's say, 6 months, 8 months, 1 year, what you could do is you can monetize it, you can leverage it, you can get additional income from it. And typically there's two ways that people can do that. One instrument is you provide that standby letter of credit to your financial institution or to companies like LifeCredit.ai, so that would be us. And what we do is we leverage it. We go to see which bank will give us the highest loan to value, and then we issue a loan against the value of that. Or we, in some cases, if, and this is only possible, we sell the standby letter of credit at the discounted rate. And the best scenario that I've seen is we leverage that standby letter of credit, especially if the face value is a lot, and we put it into a private placement program, or the other word for it is called trade. So while you have, let's say, $100 million SBLC, that SBLC, you can get a loan against it from institutions or organizations like us that we help facilitate that, or from your bank. Or if your bank can do it, you come to an organization or trusted organizations like us. We can get you a loan against it, or we can put it into some kind of a private placement trade program and make you money that way. That's it in a nutshell, very simplified to explain it. If you're looking to get a loan or put into a trading programs, there's some things that factor into it. One is the name of the bank. If the bank is on the top 20 banks in the world, the face value of the SBLC is a lot more than a bank that is not one of the top 20 banks in the world. So imagine I come to you and I have an SBLC from HSBC as an example versus the no-name Bank of Africa. A lot of people put trust in HSBC versus the no-name Private Bank of Africa as example. So that's really important, who's the issuing bank. The second thing that's equally, I would say equally important, but also very important, is the city in which the bank is issuing that SBLC. So SBLC in London, as an example, from HSBC is worth significantly more than perhaps HSBC Hong Kong, as an example. In fact, if you Google fraudulent SBLCs, as of the date of shooting this video, you'll notice that a lot of fraudulent SBLCs are coming from HSBC Hong Kong as a comparison to London. And so that's why the issuing city, so first is the issuing bank, then the second factor is issue city, and then one biggest thing that makes the biggest difference is also the face value of the SBLC. Is it 100 million? Is it 200 million? Those ones are worth a lot more than smaller size SBLCs. In fact, I am personally finding, being in this business of helping business owners and commodity players monetizing their SBLCs, I'm finding it's becoming harder and harder to monetize small size or small face value SBLCs. So you always want to ask your client for a bigger number. 100 million or more is a lot more easier than like 500,000 bucks SBLC as a comparison. When you're working with institutions like us, you want to ask us if we know if we've monetized standby letters of credit for your business. And here's what I mean by that. If you are a commodity player in South Africa, there are a few institutions in Europe that love monetizing standby letters of credit for organizations in South Africa, and they've done really well for that. If you don't know people like us and you go to somebody who's not experienced and they claim they can do it, and they may have a resume that they can do it, they will then take your standby letter of credit and they'll give it to the wrong financial institution, the wrong service provider, and that will take you a lot of time for you to monetize it. And oftentimes monetizing standby letter of credit is time sensitive, like it needs to be monetized within 45 days or less. It can't take like a year to do, figure out what to do like that. When you're ready to monetize it, it's to your advantage to know whether you want a loan or you want to put it into a trade. It's important for you to have your KYC and CIS ready. When you want to come to monetizers or organizations like us, we use former FBI people to do background checks, not only on the individuals we're working with, but also the authentication of the paper. So you want to make sure that any documents you give us is real, like that. Those are the biggest things that I think you need to know. Do you want to put it into a trade, or do you want to monetize it, and then you want to get the details of that. If you want to monetize it, is when I say you want to get a loan. And then it's important to know how soon you need the money, how much you want it. If you want a loan, do you want to get 60% loan to value, 70% loan to value? What's the amount of capital or interest you're willing to pay? How long do you want the loan for? So if you want to go for the loan program, think through those questions when you approach either us or any of our competitors, because that gives you speed. That allows the monetizer, in our case, to know exactly who to go to, where to go, and how to best monetize it for you. And if it's our own private capital that we occasionally put in, we want to know exactly if there's any margins here that we could make out of it. If you want to put the money in a trading program, in a private placement program, and make a lot of money while you have the SBLC and making, in this case, the tanker example, you're making the tank and shipping into that, it's important, I think, that whoever you're giving a standby of credit to, that they're using a reputable law firm. It's important, I think, and this is our kind of a proprietary program, is we ask our clients to put that standby letter of credit, to put it in a trustee account with an attorney that we use. This way, it's important for you to feel safe and secure because you're not giving it to my organization. You're putting in a law firm that we've selected that's reputable, and then that law firm becomes a trustee of the SBLC, if that makes sense. And then you want organizations like us, if you're putting into a trade, to leverage it, but not to deplete it by any chance, not to call on it, not to pledge it. You want to make sure the SBLC is safe and secure with a law firm, and then it's being leveraged, so that while you're making a tanker and shipping it to a client, you've got 8 months, 1 year, whatever the deal is, you can get the maximum amount of cash on it. Now remember, once the SBLC, in the case of the tanker, once you've got the tanker ready, you ship it to a client and they get it, that SBLC should be expiring by that time, or it should be a callback where you should be the seller of the SBLC gets the SBLC back let out. If you have some questions about this, if you'd like to learn a little bit more about this, please click on the link below. Please go through our process of providing your passport and your CIS and all that information, providing proof of funds or SBLC, so we know you're real, so that we can book time in our calendar to have a meaningful conversation to help you out. My name is Taimour Zaman from NavCredit.ai, and I look forward to the opportunity of working with you.